The Bain family murder stands as one of the most haunting and puzzling cases in New Zealand's history, and continues to send shivers down the spines to date. On June 20th, 1994, 5 members of the Bain family, Robin and Margaret Bain, along with 3 of their children, Arawa, Laniet, and Stefan, were shot and killed. The only suspects were David Cullen Bain, the oldest son and the only survivor, and Robin Bain, the father. But what led this once happy family to this horrifying nightmare? What went wrong? This is their harrowing story. The Bain started off like a fairy tale, a true happily ever after, when Robin and Margaret took the plunge and exchanged vows in 1969. As the 90s rolled in, their family grew to include 4 kids: David, Arawa, Laniet, and Stefan. The family was growing and the needs were changing. Soon, they moved to Papua New Guinea in 1974, with Robin embracing the role of a missionary teacher. But by '88, the enchanting island life ended and they returned. However, as the years passed, the initial charm of their love story seemed to fade away, lost somewhere in the tides of time. Slowly but gradually, they drifted apart. In June 1994, they lived at 65 Every Street in Dunedin, but their home had seen better days. Pictures shown during the trial revealed messy and dirty rooms, with their stuff scattered all over the place. By then, Robin and Margaret weren't just living apart, they were also emotionally distant. Now, here's where things start to get creepy. One of the reasons for their misunderstandings could be Margaret's interest in New Age spiritualism. She used to call her husband a son of Belial, one of the 4 crown princes of hell, and even banished him to sleep outside the house in a caravan. This had a disastrous effect on Robin's mental health. Robin was not himself, according to his fellow teachers. They described him as deeply depressed to the point where it affected his ability to teach children, and he was finding it hard to handle things. Little did they know that this family drama would soon escalate into a nightmare that would haunt everyone for life. At the time, David Bain was a university student studying music and classics at Otago University. He also had a part-time gig delivering morning newspapers. Arawa was working on her teaching degree at a college, and Stefan was a high school student. As for Laniet, she had been living in a flat in Dunedin, but she also spent time with her father at the Taieri schoolhouse. On the evening of June 19th, just a day before the tragic events, she had returned to the family's home. What followed next was nothing short of a nightmare. On June 20th, 911 operators received a distress call. "They are all dead," said a man with his voice horrified. It was David! The police soon arrived and saw a bloodbath. All the members of the Bain family, except David, were shot to death. According to David, he had finished his paper route at 5:45 a.m., and when he returned home, he went to his room to put his things away. Afterwards, he went downstairs to start the washing machine and clean the printer's ink off his hands. It was during this time that he noticed rifle cartridges on the floor of his room. His cupboard was open, and some shelves beneath his shoes had been moved. According to him, his heart sank, and he rushed to his mother's bedroom asking, "Mom, what's going on?" But there was no reply. His mother lay unresponsive, lying there with her eyes open, her face covered in blood. She was dead. Horrified at what he had just seen, he ran to the lounge only to find his father lying on the floor, pale, with blood on his temple. David couldn't explain why he went into the lounge. It was as if he was compelled to enter. He said he immediately dialed 911 to call the police after that and took the telephone into his bedroom to talk to them. He remained in his room until the police and ambulance arrived. According to the police, David also mentioned that his father's behavior had been bizarre lately, implying that he was somehow related to the murders. Apparently, there was a suicide note written on a computer that said, "Sorry, You are the only one who deserved to stay." Now, the police initially did believe him and thought it was Robin, but there was one thing that didn't make sense. If David had seen just his father and mother, why did he say, "They are all dead," on the 911 call? Yes, you got it. His story didn't add up. The investigation into the tragic events was nothing short of a complex puzzle, and reaching the answers seemed impossible. According to the evidence, it was suggested that the mother and siblings were killed in the early hours of June 20 at around 5:30 a.m., whereas Robin committed suicide much later. If he had planned to let David live, what was he waiting for? What made the police more suspicious were David's socks. Investigation revealed that the socks had bloody bottoms. Luminal footprints indicated that he had visited others' rooms before going to the lounge, unlike his original statement. And here's the part that made everything more confusing. The timings of the suicide note on the computer and David's return to the house were awfully close. But then again, why would David just kill his family without any motive? The Bain case was a web of contradictions, where each piece of evidence seemed to clash with the last. Who was really behind the murders, Robin or David, and what was their motive? The trial, while not giving a clear answer, did provide some insight into the problems within the Bain family. The trial was both intense and frightening. It revealed many confusing and conflicting details, showing that the Bains were not just a troubled family, they were broken. A friend of Laniet, who lived in the same boarding house in Dunedin in late 1993, made a chilling confession. According to her, Laniet had confided in her that she was working as a prostitute and had suffered from incest. Laniet also shared that she had been sexually assaulted at the age of 10. Another witness, Linda Miller, revealed that Laniet confided about her distressing experience of an incestuous relationship with her father, describing it as rape. Sean Clark, a friend of David Bain, testified that Laniet expressed her desire to leave the schoolhouse because she could no longer bear what her father was doing to her. In light of these testimonies, the defense argued that Robin was trying to hide his incestuous relationship, and that's why he murdered the family. However, the evidence seemed to suggest that David might have been the one responsible and had planted a fake suicide note. After the trial, David Bain was found guilty by the jury on 5 counts of murder and was sentenced to life imprisonment with a non-parole period of 16 years. But after 13 long years, in a retrial, the jury cleared David Bain of all charges. The case remains one of the most disturbing and confusing cases ever. Who do you think was the real killer? Was it really Robin, or did David have anything to do with it? Share your thoughts in the comments, and I will see you in the next video.